be live now. Yeah, we're live. And we're going to play the intro and we'll get started. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited about my guest today. This is the last show of the night, and we have an amazing guest. Her name is Zara Starchild, and she's a multidimensional guide and spiritual teacher for lightworkers, walk-ins, starseeds, and empaths navigating their awakening journey. With a focus on ascension, energetic mastery, and divine embodiment, Zara helps others dissolve the veils of forgetting and reconnect with their higher selves and soul missions. As both a healer and facilitator, she empowers others to step into co-creation with spirit and align with their unique divine plan. Zara works with subtle energy, frequency, and soul remembrance to guide people through transformation and activation. Topics we'll cover are: who are starseeds, walk-ins, light workers? What does it mean to activate your divine plan? Healing trauma through energetic transmutation, ascension timelines, and spiritual shift, tools for frequency mastery, and how Zara assists spiritual seekers to deliver their gifts. And I'd like to give her a big warm welcome to the show. Zara, thanks so much for coming on for the first time. How are you?
I'm so good, Rob. Thank you so much for this invitation. What a beautiful opportunity. Thanks for sharing me with your peeps.
Yeah, this is a weird question. Because my friend's in the audience now, and I'm sure she would want me to ask you. She considers herself an Indigo 3, which I guess is like an indigo that is like embodying the soul of another person as well. So it's like have you heard of this, and do you encounter that a lot?
No, I haven't heard of the different degrees of indigos. No. There's so much information out there. Like there's so many things to categorize, there's just so many different modalities to look at. But no, I haven't heard of the difference between an indigo and an indigo 3.
Yeah.
But,
well, tell us about yourself. How did you start on your journey, and like, how did this all begin for you?
It's such a hard question because I think it's just always been there, right? So there's always been this interest in, I could say like when I was around 5 years old, I told my mom that I wanted to be a priest. And she said, you can't be a priest, only men can be priests. And at that time we were Catholic, and I looked around the church and I was like, at 5 years old, I was like, there is something inherently wrong here if only men can be priests. So that was kind of, super early on. But yeah, when I was, let's start in that sort of category. When I was a teenager in Catholicism, there's this initiation called confirmation. And so at some point you get confirmed to, and the ceremony is that you vow to be a Catholic for the rest of your life. And so this is pure indigo style here. When that time came for me, I couldn't do it. And I went through this incredible existential crisis. And I remember asking God for a sign. And also like all of the guilt and shame as a Catholic, because you're not supposed to ask for signs. You're not supposed to ask for signs. But I was crying and crying. Just give me a sign. Just give me a sign. Just give me a sign. If you want me to be Catholic for the rest of my life, just give me a sign. And so no sign came. And so, okay, that's it. And I told my parents I wasn't going to be confirmed. And this is what I mean by indigo style. Like I was the one that broke this tradition in our family to be Catholic. And after that, my father said, yes, you are going to be confirmed. And I said to him, if you make me walk down that aisle and the priest asks me, I will say no in front of the whole church, in front of the whole congregation. I will not take a vow to do this. And that was that, really. There were some deals that were made and some bargains that were made in the family. But shortly after that, they all stopped going to church. So weirdly enough. But yeah, and the point of that was shortly after that, also this book came into my life. I was around 16 years old, 17 years old. And this book called Illusions by Richard Bach. Somebody read it. They passed it on to me. And did you ever read that one, Rob?
No, I never heard of it even.
It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book. It's very almost childlike, but it basically is about how this entire world is an illusion. And if you want to create something, you can create something. Or if you want to float and levitate, you can. It's very playful and beautiful. But so I was the weird kid in school saying, like, trying to walk through walls, basically trying to walk through walls, trying to levitate, trying to do all kinds of, psychokinesis stuff. Was never able to do it as a teenager, but that was the beginning. And then tarot cards and Wicca, and it just kept going and going. Yeah.
Did you ever have a UFO experience?
A what?
Like a UFO experience? Did you ever see a UFO or have an encounter or anything like that?
When I was a kid, we were laying down on the beach, and we saw these they looked like stars up in the sky, and they were flying around in all kinds of different weird patterns. And I remember, like, there was this stationary star, and then there was this star, and it came up to the stationary star, and it did like a loop around it and then kept going. So that was the UFO experience. Yeah.
That's so cool. Did that kind of trigger anything for you, or was it just kind of like
I'll tell you, what was the big catalyst in my life was taking psychedelic mushrooms in my 20s. I took a bunch of mushrooms with some friends, and we went to go see the movie The Dark City. And it was amazing. But I had, in that movie, like, my brain just opened up, and I was like just seeing like the mechanics behind the material world. And after that, my friends and we all went back to town, and they went to the bars, but I ended up sitting in the car because I was actually tapped into like the universal mind, where like you have all of the answers to every question you could possibly imagine, and just downloaded all access. And I remember writing them all down writing down the notes. I just sat in the car while they were in dancing, and I was writing notes down on different receipts that I was finding on the floor. And it turned out the next day to all be gibberish. I couldn't make out a single word. But that day in that experience, I felt like God. I was like, I know God. God is love. God is, nothing matters. Like, nothing matters here. It's just a dream. And after that, I've had some really profound mushroom experiences that have shifted and changed my consciousness permanently. Even though I don't remember all of the details from the trip, I don't remember all of the answers or how to even access the universal consciousness in the extreme, like you're on mushrooms. But yeah, I've had many experiences like that where things have just opened up and then permanently shifted.
Yeah, I should tell you, I think I had a Kundalini activation off of mushrooms. Like, I've told this on my podcast before. What happened was, I took shrooms one night, and I was like sitting here at my desk, and nothing was really happening. And then all of a sudden, like, I laid down because, like, I was just like, nothing's happening. I'm going to sleep or whatever. And when I laid down and closed my eyes, it felt like all of a sudden, like, like a conveyor belt or an escalator. It felt like something like that of energy turned on in my back, and the energy started moving up my back. And in my mind's eye, I saw the snakes going around, like the DNA thing, like for the Kedusha or whatever. And it was amazing. And then all of a sudden, like, this energy came up and like went into my chest, and it shot out of, or wait, how did it go? It went into my chest, and it like shot out of my pineal gland and went into my crown. And it was so strange. And like, I was seeing all this in my mind's eye. And then like, I kind of like snapped out of it, and I was like, wow, that was pretty interesting. I was like, I don't know what the hell that was. Like, it seemed like it was like a kundalini, but like it could have been, I don't know. It could have just been like something off shrooms. But like I've had some pretty profound experiences too. And then one time I did DMT. I did DMT for like a while. For someone sent me a pen, like a DMT pen. So I never did like the full blown ayahuasca, but I've done, where I was taking hits off the DMT pen, and it would like put me in this state. And then when I would come off the DMT, everything on my desk looked holographic. You know what I mean? So that made me start to think that like we live in like some kind of, well, that, and then I read The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, and then a lot of people were talking about it, and it made me think that maybe we're in some kind of like simulation or holographic reality, or because you said it's like a dream. So do you think that's what we're in, something like that?
It's life is just amazing, and yeah, maybe I'm open. My general sort of philosophy is like anything is possible. Like people come to me, clients and students come to me, and they tell me the most bizarre stories, the most bizarre experiences. And so I just kind of, sure, anything is possible, like I think anything is possible. I know from my experience I know from my experience, like how intensely transformative energy healing, spiritual energy healing is. And to get it regularly when you're like when you have a goal or you have an aspiration to receive spiritual energetic healing, or even trauma, physical trauma, like a little story. I experienced a suicide in my life a few decades ago, maybe about a decade ago. And it was very, very traumatic. And interestingly enough, I had just come off of a spiritual retreat, and I found this person who had taken his own life, and incredibly traumatic, as you can imagine, shocking. And 2 days later, these shaman came up from Colombia to the Hudson Valley in New York. And I knew that they were coming. They were doing a water ceremony, and I had planned to go to them anyways. On the way there, this was like 2 days after the experience of finding this person who I loved very dearly. I was telling a friend of mine who was driving me, I was saying, Lisa, it is so weird. My physical body, I'm experiencing like electric shocks in my muscles in weird places, just randomly. It's just such a weird, bizarre feeling. And so we went to the shaman, and I got a healing, and these guys didn't speak any English. They had a translator. So they knew what had happened. And these guys, they took these little cotton balls, and they just took these 2 little cotton balls, and I didn't know what they were saying or what they were doing, but they just took these cotton balls, and they were going like this around my body. And the translator said they're removing the shock from your physical body and your energy body, the shock energies. And sure enough, like I walked away from that, and the physical sensation of those electric shocks that I was experiencing were gone. And so the spiritual healing, the energy healing, I know that those are incredibly transformative. I know from my own experience in regards to manifesting how easy it can become. And I also know from the spiritual principles that we put into practice in our lives, when we start to live by and look at the or I should say, look at the world through the lens of the universal law of oneness, right? Which means basically everything that we're seeing in the external is a reflection of our internal, right? And so if we have a problem with someone or a challenge with someone, for me, I've learned to go within, find out what's the contraction I'm experiencing in my body? Why am I so contracted by this person's behavior? And if I unlock that and I find the seed of that, and I do the healing work and the transformative work around myself, miraculously within days, this relationship isn't a conflict anymore, or the conflict that was there just dissolves. And so, I can't say that it's a holographic universe, but it certainly expresses as such to me. Because when I change internally, the external shifts and changes around me. And that's the law of oneness. It's the law of manifestation, really. What you believe, what you feel inside of your body, what you know to be true, it manifests in your reality, positive or negative.
Wow, it's so interesting. Like, so you feel like we can we can manifest our reality to a certain. We can really like control our reality and manipulate our reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell this story. I'll show you guys my view right now. That's the lake that I am looking at. And this was one of my this was a big manifestation for me. We had a lake we had a lake house growing up in the extended family. And so I always wanted to have my own place on the water. And several years ago, I kind of looked around my life and I was like, wow, you know what? I have everything I wanted. I have like time to do my art. I have this, I have that. My money's coming in. It's all good. The only thing I don't have is a lake house. And this was in 2020. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to manifest a lake house. And so I did. So I did all this, like, basically what I did was I journaled every day while I had my coffee, and I would just creative write as if I were sitting here already. So, and this is what I mean about the feeling and the vibration, like the feeling tone, the beliefs, the vibration. I had to move through some limited beliefs around thinking it was impossible for me to have a lake house and all of that sort of thing. But basically, I'm like, I'm going to manifest a lake house. And so I wrote in my journal every day while I was having my coffee. I'm sitting on the porch. I'm enjoying the sun, the breeze, the smell of the pine. I can hear the loon calls. I'm having my coffee on the front porch, like all of the sun glistening off the water. And just every day I would pretend that I was there. And after about 2 weeks, my reality got glitchy. And it's a weird experience. And if you haven't experienced it, you may never know. But some of us have experienced. And it's kind of like when you turn your head quickly, in your peripheral vision, it's almost like you talking about your desk was holographic. It's almost like your peripheral vision gets a little pixelated. And so, no matter how experienced you are at that, it gets a little freaky. So I chilled out, and then I came back to it a few months later, did the same thing over and over. And then one day I was walking away to get some more coffee, and I said to myself, man, I really need to make some more money so I can buy this lake house. I really need to get my business up and running so I can buy this lake house. And I heard a voice in my head say, that's a limited belief. And I was like, oh, you're right. That is a limited belief. Okay, forget it. I can have a lake house now. And so I just started mantra. I can have a lake house now. I can have a lake house now. Within 2 weeks of that, this lake house came into my field. And it came into my field through my mom. She had a real estate friend who knew the family of the person that owned this space beforehand. And so within a couple months, I purchased this house for, it was $40,000. And I got a personal loan for $30,000. So this lake house that I'm in right now was a complete manifestation. Complete. And then we had to renovate it.
That's amazing.
It was a shack, but it's beautiful now. Here it is.
I mean, that is amazing that you were able to do that. Like, I mean, it looks like it's all brand new, renovated and stuff like that.
Yeah, it took us about 2 years of weekends to come in here and do the labor of renovating it. It was a dirty shack. It was full of bees nests, and it was full of squirrels nests, and we got real dirty. But now we get to sit here and enjoy this beautiful, amazing view.
That's amazing. That's really, Wow, that's awesome. Like, and then when did you first start realizing that you were like a guide for like star seeds and light workers? Like, when did you kind of step into that role?
I started as I started in my 20s with um, experimenting with Wicca and ceremonial work, and we had this little goddess circle of friends and acquaintances that would come, and we would perform these little ceremonies, and it was incredible, and it was so powerful, and so many people had these incredible manifestations, um and it's just been a calling in me to like step into this role and teach and guide others. It's just always been there. Shortly after that, I was invited to be the high priestess at the Beltane ceremony, the local large Beltane ceremony in outside of New Paltz, New York, the Center for Symbolic Studies. And then yeah, just took out energy healing classes, learned how to do energy healing, did a lot of volunteer work just to practice on people. Um, and here's another interesting thing about manifesting is I truly believe that each one of us have these like desires in our heart to manifest and how we want to live our lives and the experiences that we want to do and how we want to play and engage. Um, and sometimes, well, there's a lot of stuff in the way, and this we were talking about the veil of forgetting. So there's a lot more than the veil of forgetting, but there's a lot of like energies and conditioning and all this stuff that kind of makes us feel like we can't do it or we're limited in some way. But I truly believe that we're not. I think that the calling in our heart to manifest what it is that we want, our dream life, is the hero's journey, as each individual's hero's journey. And I'm all over the place.
No, this is fascinating. I wanted to ask you more about Wicca. I mean, I've always been really fascinated with with Wicca and witchcraft. I know they're two separate things, but like, so I'll give you like my introduction to it. So I'm an eight. By the way, you said New York. I'm right by New York. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where
Okay,
I live. You
cool.
know. Anyway, so I grew up listening to Art Bell. I'm 45 years old, and I don't know if you remember Art Bell on the radio, but I used to listen to Art Bell. I always talk about this on my show, and Art Bell was like the first guy to be talking about like the paranormal and stuff on the radio back. I mean, not this was way before Ancient Aliens, before any podcast. This was like on the dial radio in like 1999. You know what I
Amazing.
mean?
Yeah.
And he used to bring on this lady, and she was like, she was a witch, but she was like I guess you could say a good witch. Her name was Evelyn Paglini, and she would come on his show and talk about different like mirror magic, and she would talk about like candle magic, and like she would give people tips and stuff, and like I had never heard anything like this. I saw movies and stuff, but and I think right around that time is when The Craft came out too, and so I was kind of like, into that too. I never really, like engaged in it or anything. I was just kind of always interested in it. And then, throughout my life, I've tried some sigils and stuff like that, but like, and I've tried like mirror mat, I've tried scrying, and I've tried, some candle magic, and then also outside of that, you talk about, man, I've tried like affirmations and subliminals and stuff. Like, how far did you go with magic? And was magic like your influence for manifestation?
Magic was my confirmation. Mm, Doing ceremonial magic, ceremonial spells gave me the confirmation to know that it's real.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So as an example, when you cast the sacred circle, I mean, you're with a wand or with your finger, you draw a circle, you say the words, I cast the sacred circle, space between the a space out of time and space, a place out of time and space, and in perfect love and perfect trust, right? You do this circle. Call in the guardians, call in the 4 directions, and then you do your spell work, and then you send up the energy, you raise the energy, you send up the energy, and it's all well and good. But what's really interesting is when you close the circle, okay, we're done, and you close the circle, it's like there is a physical temperature change, like a physical temperature change, like what was going on in that bubble generated heat, and you're not aware of it because you've raised the temperature gradually, and then as soon as you open that circle, it's like, and then the cool air comes in. Now, just that was confirmation to know that it was real. Just that. Because it's so dramatic, the temperature change, and it's, you're drawing an imaginary circle. So how can that be? Do you know what I mean? How can that be?
It's amazing.
Yeah. So what was your question about that?
Like so I guess magic was your confirmation that you were able to manifest.
Yeah. And as I evolved, I went into, so I did Wicca for like my 20s, and then in my 30s I started training on awakening your light body, which is it's a lot more ascension based, right? And that's when I got into doing grid work. And that's when I realized that all of the like the magic and the spell work, that is mostly just to focus your mind, because it's your mind and your energy that does the magic, not the candle, not the sword, not the wand. You know what I mean? All of that stuff is fun to play with. It's so fun, but it's not the candle. It's the candle is to focus your mind, right? And the mind is the thing that's calling in the new reality. The mind is the thing that's visioning the new reality.
Wow, that's amazing. And then so you like you transitioned to more like a from out of Wicca into like more like a starseed like approach. Like you could almost say like New Age, but like maybe not. Is that kind of what you would happen?
Yeah, the starseed, there's, like I said earlier, there's so many different labels out there, and the starseed label, well, there's a starseed mythos, right? The starseed mythos is that there are these incredibly intelligent extraterrestrial races out there that would love to come and assist the conscious evolution of humanity, like to return humanity's consciousness back to a state of oneness, a unity. What I do to you, I feel, right? Like any damage that we're doing to the earth is going to be damage to our own bodies, like that kind of unity, to understand that what it is that we're doing in the world is affecting us, We're literally extensions of the same source energy. And so the mythos of the starseed is that there's these extraterrestrial races out there that would love to come and help, but they're under the prime directive of non-interference. They can't bring their wisdom here without our asking for it. And so the loophole is that if they incarnate in human form, then wake up through the density to their knowingness of who they are, and all of the gifts that they have, then we can legitimately, without karma, affect the change that we want to see here in the world, affect the change of the human consciousness. And because there's so many of us now incarnate on Earth, all we need to do is get everybody, we got to get all the starseeds turned on, awake, and remembering their powers of creation, their powers of creation, and their extrasensory perceptions like telepathy and mediumship and communicating through the veil. So there's all these divine gifts that we have. And once these star seeds are turned on, then we will have, and we're seeing it already, I think, or in my opinion, we're seeing human consciousness evolving in the last 20 years. Like you said, when you were, there was one radio station on when you were a kid talking about stuff. And now it's like all over YouTube, all over. There's a Gaia channel. There's, there's so many people that are talking about this and the holographic universe. So as the mass of humanity starts to wake up to the reality that this is like our world is not just what we can perceive through the five senses, right? There's so much more to this world than the five senses. And as we wake up to it, we start to understand our oneness with all that is and each other and the planet. The need to do harm or the need to get power or have power over dissolves. And so the collective just naturally begins to evolve, because now there's going to be more of us with this unity consciousness, more of us that are able to see through the lies and the fogs and the smoke screens that people are putting up to hide behind, right? You can see through it. So because there's more of us, more truth will become known, more transparency will be seen. When I say more of us, I'm talking about light workers, star seeds, indigos, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever you fancy, right? Whatever you fancy. I like the star seed. I like that mythos. I like talking to the galactics. I remember walking down a street in New York City in my 30s. This is before the word starseed was even out there. But I was walking down the street and I was just watching people walking their dog. And I heard in my head, I am not from here. And it was a knowing. It was a voice and it was a knowing. I am not from here. And so when I claimed starseed and star child for myself, it was like permission to be the weirdo. Like, I am an alien. Okay, cool. I don't have to fit in. I'm not going to fit in. It's never going to happen. So be the weirdo.
I love that. That's awesome. One thing I wanted to mention was you mentioned working with walk-ins. Like, how can somebody tell if they've had a walk-in soul experience? Like, or do you work with walk-ins a lot?
I wouldn't say a lot. But I know a lot of walk-ins. So how does someone know that they're a walk-in? There's different kinds of walk-ins. So some of the walk-ins are very dramatic. Like, I'm Susie one day, and usually those dramatic ones, they usually have some sort of catalyst, some kind of physical accident, right? Like near-death experience. A lot of the NDEs are walk-ins. They go and then they come back, and they may not be the same person. But those people that go and they come back and they're not the same person, they generally know they're not the same person. They just don't fit into their life anymore. Then there's the higher self walk-in, which is more gradual, and you retain a lot of your memory with that. So I consider myself a higher self walk-in. I never had a dramatic exit or entry, but I don't have a lot of sentimentality or memory of my past. key moments for sure. I was looking at pictures at my mother's house a few months ago, and I was looking at the pictures of myself with my family, and it just this weird like contemplation, like I'm not that person. Like I don't remember ever being that person. Like looking at all the history of this body on her wall was just bizarre to me. And I don't think that's normal. Is it?
No, it's not, definitely
It's
not
not,
normal.
it's not normal.
I would say that's like the like a walk-in, you know.
Yeah.
That definitely for sure.
Yeah. I don't think that's normal.
Yeah, like and then you talk about the veils of forgetting, like, you know, you help people transmute. Do you feel like we all uh have the veil of forgetting? I mean, like, it seems like it's something that comes with the territory if you incarnate into Earth, you know. And some people even think there's a more sinister reason for that, like that we're in some kind of like prison planet and they're making us mind wiping us every time we reincarnate here. Like, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so fun to talk about. I'm going to say this. Nobody knows
Yeah,
anything. We're all speculating, and we're
I
all
know.
looking through our lens of our own perception. And
Yeah,
so what I would say about that is also could be true. It also could be true. But there's levels to consciousness and there's levels to this game. And I call it a game because it's like it is a game. It's a game. It's a game, guys. It's a game. And some of it's really heavy, and I'm not like minimalizing the heaviness and the sadness and the suffering. But ultimately, you are an expression of creator source energy. You are an expression of that which gives life to everything. So there's one life, and the same life force energy animates me, animates you, Rob, animates a squirrel, animates a tree. It's this one life energy. And that life force energy, Star Wars calls it the Force. You can call it God. You can call it life. You can call it love. You can call it whatever. But there's one source energy behind the material expressing as the good guy and the bad guy. And you know, the angry mother-in-law and the gnarly neighbor and the beautiful, you know, all the beauty and all of the anger and all of the messiness. And so is it a prison planet? It can be. There's certainly hell realms here on Earth, but then there's also heavenly realms here on Earth. If you go to Mount Shasta, that place is so high vibe, high charge. Like they say it's like an anchor for Shambhala, and you can feel it, and you can taste it in the water.
wow. I've never been there yet. I want to go there, so I really do. Like, I know someone who used to have conferences there every year. He passed away. Rob Potter. He would have a conference at Mount Shasta every year. You know, when you say you could taste it in the water, what's it like? Like, what's it like? I mean, is it just? I mean, like, what's it like? Is it really magical there? Would you say?
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you, there's another place, Esalen, the Esalen Retreat Center. This is another place that I've been. The Esalen Retreat Center is one of the most glorious places I've ever been to on the planet. And I've been all over. But they have this retreat center and it's on the cliff face of the ocean. And then they have like natural hot springs that come out of the water that are on the cliff of the ocean. So you're in the hot tub, hot spring, and there's the Pacific Ocean. But they grow like 90% of all of the food that they make, they grow on the property. And it tastes like light. Like you never had lettuce taste so good. It's just incredible. Like the amount of light and love on the land in that spot it is heaven on earth. And I'm sure, I'm sure that there's still like personal dramas going on in that environment, but it is one of the most pristine places. And Mount Shasta is the same. In Sedona, Arizona. Yeah. So there's heaven on earth, there's hell on earth. Is it a prison planet? Maybe. Ultimately, though, it's all one experience. It's all like heaven and hell all mixed up in one. God and God, God and the devil, the same thing.
Yeah.
Dark and the light, the yin and the yang, right? So, but if you're, I know who, what was his name? Mike? The guy that talks about the prison planet on your podcast?
Oh, there's a couple of different people who talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
There is evidence of that. And here's my take on it. My take on a lot of this stuff, like the darker conspiracy theory stuff. How do I say this? Okay, here's what I know. It's kind of like the Matrix, right? So we are batteries, we're energy beings.
Yeah.
And what happens when we're in fear is that our energy contracts, and it contracts and it condenses, and it doesn't flow in joy, right? It doesn't flow in joy, it doesn't flow in grace. It contracts. And what happens is there's a chakra on the back of the skull. It's called the I lost the name of it right now, but it's right near the amygdala. So when the fear gets activated, this chakra comes up, it sends its energy up, and it covers the crown and it covers the third eye. So when you're in a state of fear, your energy system literally covers your connection to the divine and your connection to higher perceptions. When you're not in fear, you have connection to the divine, your divine guidance, and you have a clear perception. You can see the truth. You can see when you're being manipulated, when you're not in fear. But when the fear comes up, it clouds you. And so if we are in a prison planet, or if we are in a prison realm, that's what the starseeds and the light workers are here to do, is to remain in a clear state of joy, presence, peace, inner well-being, right? Love, and expressing those qualities in order to calm the fears, bring harmony to the disharmony. There's a lot of darkness here. Absolutely. I've seen a lot of darkness. But in regards to the darker conspiracy theories, they're delicious. They're delicious mind candy to chew on. They're so good. But as a light worker and with the work that I do, I can't afford to go into the fear of it. I went into in my early 20s, I went into the our government is a bunch of aliens in human skin suits. That one. You know what I'm talking about? The government is ETs, but they're in skin suits, right? Or
I've heard about that.
Right? It's dark. I got really afraid. I got really scared. And I spent a few weeks just chewing on that in that wormhole. And ultimately I came to it may be true. And if it is, what am I going to do about it? And the answer is nothing. And so there's nothing I can do about that. And so there's no reason for me to go into a panic, like a real fear of this alien race government. Even though I do believe that, to be honest, I do believe the dark aliens are in control of the government. But again, I don't harp on it, because my job is to anchor the peace. My job is to anchor the light. My job is to be in joy. My job is to be in love, so it can anchor into this reality. And it spreads just like fear spreads. So does love.
Yeah.
Compassion.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was, you work a lot about with frequency mastery. Like, does this tie into like the manifestation and stuff? And like, yeah.
Frequency is so interesting. When I first got introduced to frequency through this lineage that I studied, Awakening Your Light Body by Oren and Daben, was a course I took in my 30s. And it turned, over the course of the year and practicing these techniques, I learned to turn on energy body centers in my being and begin to explore my light body. And that experience gave me an incredible degree of emotional mastery and mental mastery, and some physical mastery as well, but definitely manifestation mastery. And the frequencies, it took me a long time to wrap my head around, what is this? What is a frequency? What is this frequency stuff that they're talking about? And it's very, if you think of the frequencies like all of the different channels that you could tune into, what do you want to experience? Right? So love is a frequency. Hate is a frequency. There's an emotional, it's a feeling tone. It's a feeling tone. It's an emotional wave that moves through. And so love is a frequency. Hate is a frequency. Transcendence was one that came up recently. I had this experience of releasing some energies, some insecurity energies that came up over me when I was in a public place. And I realized that they weren't mine. And so I was running my energy and I released them. And I heard again in my head, that is the frequency of transcendence. And so when you're working as a light worker and you're doing this work, you're doing it internally for yourself, for that energetic mastery. What do I want to feel right now? Do I want to feel insecurity, or do I want to feel confidence? Do I want to feel enjoyment? What do I want to feel? So where am I going to tune my dial into?
Yeah.
We're not taught. Unfortunately, we're not taught that we have the choice to do this as children or even as teenagers. Like, what you feel is what you feel. That's what you feel. What you feel is what you are. You're angry. You are angry. I'm angry. But anger is a feeling. It's not an identity, right? Unless we claim it. When we say I am, then we become it. But if we're feeling angry, we can, okay, I'm feeling angry. Do I want to continue to feel angry? Or do I prefer just to like take a few breaths and put my feet on the ground and feel good again? There's a lot of people that get stuck in the emotions because they don't know that they have a choice to change the dial. Some of these energies are in the physical body too, from trauma, and they just need to be released.
I never thought of that. That's a good way of looking at it, because I know frequency. I listen to frequencies all the time, but I never thought about it that way. Of like, that's interesting. I think that's a really interesting perspective.
You're talking about like the frequencies in music and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Those are interesting too. Yeah, I don't play with those. I listen to them, binaural beats and stuff. Those are great.
Yeah. So you'll get a different. That's amazing, though. And then I have a friend who's doing one of my. I mean, I can go a little bit longer. I was going to ask you. I have a friend who's doing reality shifting right now, so I think she's in the audience. So you believe in like collective timeline jumping? Is that right?
I do actually. So, we're all on this journey of becoming, but there's something inside of us that like knows what would give us the greatest joy of what it is that we want to become, right? And so I've always had this, like I've always kind of had this knowing of doing large scale public ceremonies and getting like thousands of people to meditate / or focus intention on co-creating the world that we want to live in. And that's what we're talking about, timeline shifts. And in my becoming, and I feel like that's there, right? Like that future is there where I'm going to be doing that. But in becoming where I am now to that, I had to manifest this lake house. I had to manifest this lake house in order to see in real time, in concrete measure, what I could do with my mind and my imagination. And if I can manifest a lake house with $10,000 in my bank account just by journaling every day, if we got together as a collective and started to focus not on the problems of the world, but on what we want to see, such as benevolent leadership, right? Or clean, free energy, or clean waters, or lots of mental health facilities to bring people back to wholeness and congruency, right? Or teaching kids telepathy and ESP in school. There's some really amazing people out there that are teaching children how to read blindfold, how to play blindfolded. Like and that's just so they're taking their sight away, and they're enhancing their consciousness into their light bodies, which is our light body is our extrasensory perception organ. So they're teaching these kids how to access that so they don't need their eyes to see. It's amazing. So all I'm saying is we can collectively timeline shift. There's some healings and stuff that needs to be done, but instead of looking at the problems, if we as a collective with a large group of people started vibrating in the frequency of our healed world, a world of unity, a world of harmony, where people were educated, whatever that vision was, I think we could do it pretty quickly. Yeah. So your friend, are they looking at timeline shifting in their own reality?
Yeah, she's looking at like reality shifting. Yeah, like I guess it's like similar, right? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reality shifting, timeline shifting. I think it's similar. It's just similar to manifestation.
Yeah.
You're placing yourself. Basically, that's what I was doing with this lake house. I was sitting in my house in the city of Kingston, and I was sending my consciousness into the future of where I already had the lake house.
Yeah.
And then collapse the timeline so that the lake house was now.
How do you collapse the timeline?
Just like that. So how you do it, how you shift timelines, how you sort of bend reality is you put yourself in the vibration, in the frequency of already having it.
Okay.
And then what happens is your external reality shifts around you.
Yeah.
What I was talking about at the very beginning is the law of oneness in the holographic universe. It's just when you put your vibrational frequency in congruency with already having the thing that you want, and you hold it there, then this holographic reality around us has to reshape itself. In my experience, it's not an overnight thing, but it can be pretty quick. I mean, all in all, that manifestation to the lake house, I started in November, and by July, and it wasn't consistent, but by July, the lake house came into my field. And by August, we were in here and starting to renovate. So less than a year.
Wow.
So you can do it with I've done it with jobs my whole life. I did I want to work a job where I only have to work a couple days a week, but I get full-time pay and all of these benefits. And I would this is what I want. I want to work 2 to 3 days a week max, full-time pay, benefits, nobody looking over my shoulder, no pressure, blah, 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 blah. And every job I had was like that. And that in of itself is just bizarre.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you've been able to do that. That's amazing. So is this one of the things you offer? Do you teach people how to like manifest their own reality and stuff like that?
I haven't gotten into that as a focus. I have 2 primary focuses. One of them is this like one-on-one healing, energy work, consultation, coaching, like where are you at? Where do you want to be? So in that sense, yes, manifesting personal one-on-one. But my passion is really to teach people how to awaken their light bodies. Because in the process of awakening your light body, you access your multidimensional beingness. You access the larger you that's beyond your physical body. So one of the things that I like to talk about in this thread, just to give an example, can we do a little exercise?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, so this little exercise for those of you who are watching, close your eyes just temporarily. Close your eyes 2 minutes. And as you close your eyes, become aware of the contact that your butt has with your seat. Is it hard? Is it soft? What are you sitting on? Is it hot? Is it cold? What is it? Then become aware of what's on your feet. Are they bare? Are you wearing socks? Do you feel it? Can you feel the floor? Can you feel your shoes? Become aware of the waistline of your pants. Become aware of the taste in your mouth. Become aware of any hair on your face or your neck. Become aware of the shirt against your shoulders. And become aware of the temperature of the air around your skin. And then lastly, become aware of any noise or sound outside of the room that you're sitting in. And go ahead and open your eyes. So this is an example, an exercise that I use to demonstrate. Would you agree, Rob, that your body and your physical senses are feeling all of those things all the time?
Yeah.
Data is available to you all the time.
Yeah.
Just the physical data. But you're not aware of it all the time, yes?
No, because you're not tapping into it, right?
You're not placing your awareness on it, right? So This is how I kind of talk about the light body. I believe that our light bodies, our soul and our spirit are so big, so vast, so powerful that they can't fit inside of our physical body. And so contrary to popular belief that when we're born, our soul enters our body, and when we leave, our soul, or when we die, our soul leaves the body, what I actually feel is closer to the truth is that our physical body is inside of our soul's body. Our physical body is inside of our spiritual body. And so the greater us, the greater who we are, is non-physical. And our non-physical self has one point of its awareness in our physical body, experiencing our physical life. And it's got many other points of awareness, many other data points that it can reach. And so when you start to access your light body and bridge your consciousness with your souls and your spiritual body, you start to build a bridge in your brain. Your neurotransmitters begin to interpret the data of your non-physical senses, and you start to receive the information from, just like we put our awareness on our feet. We got our information about what our socks feel like. Are they sweaty, or are they dry, or are they cold? You know what I mean? We're not thinking about it all the time. But when you place your awareness out into your light body, you'll start to get data. Not at first, because it takes a minute for your brain to translate that data. But after practicing it, you start to learn to translate that data. And from there, this is why I'm so passionate about it. From there, you can do anything. You can see anything. You can experience anything. You can go interdimensional traveling. You can rearrange the grids. Like, that's another way of manifesting, attracting clients, attracting students, attracting money, because you're working in the non-physical, and all of the physical reality is just energy manifesting into contraction. But so my passion is to teach people how to awaken their light bodies and how to bridge their consciousness with their larger self and become sovereign beings, like under their own authority. When your light body is awakened, when you have tuned into these spiritual senses, nobody can bullshit you. Like, it's like you smell it on people. You know when somebody's lying, you know when people are telling the truth, you know when people are authentic, you know, you learn to pick up on all the feelings. I think that, I think a lot more people are empathic, meaning that they feel other people's emotions in their body. I think that there's so many more people that are empathic than people that know that they are empathic. Meaning, before you know that you're empathic, you are feeling other people's energy in your body, but you think it's yours because it's in your body. And so when you tune into your higher self and you start to bridge your consciousness with the larger you get to feel the well-being of your soul, like your true home signature feeling, frequency, like your soul's signature. And then when another person's energy or other energies come in, it's easily detectable. And then we don't need to carry it around.
I love that. That's amazing. Wow, that was amazing. This was an amazing. I think a lot of people really enjoyed this. This was a really good episode. I really enjoyed this. Well, let me ask you this: is there anything else you want to share before we finish up tonight? Like, any final words for the audience or anything like that?
Yes, actually, thank you for asking. So we were talking about sort of a group collective intention, and I've started. And we're going to be doing grace transmissions on a monthly basis on full moons. And we're going to be putting that out there in the next week, probably, for people to sign up and come in and do these like group meditations, global group meditations on anchoring grace through your being into your home, into your land, into the planet. And then we're also going to do this light worker glamour clearing, which is what we were talking about earlier, the veil of forgetting. There's an astral plane. The astral plane has a fog called glamour. And this is from Alice Bailey's work from like the 70s, I think. So we're
I'm familiar with her. My friend Rob Castaldo told me about her before. Alice Bailey, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be using some of the techniques from that book to clear the glamours, like glamours of criticism, superiority, inferiority, burden, whatever comes up in the group. So it's going to be a grace transmission, a glamour clearing, and then the visioning of the new earth as a monthly service and experiment.
I forgot to even ask you this, but I think it's important. Do you also do grid work too? I think you mentioned that. You work with the grids too, right?
I do. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was saying to my friend Priscilla came on the other night. She's from Montreal, and she was said I was telling her, I said it seems like more and more people are being called to do grid work, for whatever reason. I think it's because of the times we're in,
I think so. Do. Yeah, I think so. There's lots of topics I'd love to keep talking about, Rob. There's one about one of the things that's been in my mind lately is about the megalithic structures and the theory that they were that they anchored these megalithic stones to draw the energy of the earth on the ley lines, to draw that healing energy up from the stones and then transport that energy like through other stones. And it's been a real passion of mine for a long time, sort of like in the back, to recreate that. And I was watching some Ancient Aliens the other day and how they were talking about the pyramid as possibly was an electric source. Did you see that one?
It's like a conductor, yeah. They think that there was water once around it. So they think that like there was like, yeah, like that it was surrounded by water at one point, so that could have made sense because if water helps generate energy and electricity. I think, yeah. I mean, it could be, and then when I had Brad Olson on the other day, we were talking about like how a lot of these sites are like astronomically aligned to where like Chichen Itza, it has the serpent going up the side of it, and then like Chaco Canyon, I think has the triangle, and like these projections when the summer solstice or the fall solstice hits, like it'll show a projection from the sun. It's like it's amazing that they knew how to line things up like that. So I can totally agree with what you're saying, that they would tap into the healing energies of the stones too, because it seems like they were so much more advanced than us in that way.
Yeah. I've been reading and watching a lot of stories lately about how humanity had incredible magical powers, and that was taken away, and then it was subjugated, and all the people that were magical were killed, and then religions came in and made magic evil, right? So there's a lot of these fictional fantasy stories that have that plot line. The Wheel of Time is one of them. But it's as I'm reading it, it's like ringing this like real chord of truth. And when you look at these megalithic structures and how they were built, and who knows how they were built, and was the pyramid an actual like electric thing? I mean, come on, it could have been. They said that the shafts that they go in, that they put some sort of chemical on one and the other chemical on the other, and when it combusted with the water, it created this. And I'm like, well, let's just do it again. Why don't you do it again? See if it works.
Yeah, that'd be amazing,
wouldn't it?
Yeah. And well, I think there's things like holding people back. Like I think it's like the people that are in charge of like the archaeology and stuff like that. They hold humanity back. You
Yeah.
know, they don't want us to try to find out about our real origins.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know.
That goes back to the prison planet kind of thing. So yeah, there is definitely a force that's like does not want us to reclaim our power for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the same alien, the same race that genetically modified us thousands of years ago, which I think was the Anunnaki. But I mean, I'm not sure. I don't have proof of that, but I mean, it seems like they did something. I think there were a lot of ancient alien races that came and they they birthed this different civilizations of humanity. I think that's why a lot of us look different. I mean, I think a lot of us come from different alien species.
Yeah.
I don't have I don't have proof on that, but I mean, it would seem I don't know. Yeah,
I
you
think they're
know.
coming again, honestly. I don't have any messages about it, but I have a sense they're coming back.
People are seeing a lot more. People are seeing a lot more UFOs and a lot more stuff. So it's becoming more. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's really interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to think what other questions I have for you. Uh, so do you think we're heading towards a golden age? Because that's my last question for you. Would you say we're heading towards a golden age?
Yeah, honestly, I think this is all personal perspective, but we were talking about the holographic universe, and the other thing that I think about the golden age and what's happening right now on the planet is there's another mythos, which is there's a split happening. So those that don't want it are going to be on one earth, and those that do want it will be on another earth, sort of like a parallel universe, parallel dimensional stuff. I almost like when I feel into it, that feels more, it feels like more we're going in that direction. But I really don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen. But my feeling on it is, well, I'll tell you what happened. During the whole COVID thing and the whole VAX thing, I got
Yeah.
very, very concerned and sort of went into meditation, started talking to Spirit, and Spirit was like, life will find a way. Like life will find a way. There's no suppressing life forever or joy forever. Like they can't do it. So no matter how hard they try to clamp on all the controls and the tyranny and the craziness, like it's only temporary. And ultimately, we're all going home back into our own oneness. That's my take on it. So is there a golden age? I would love to see it. I think we're going to have incredible. Here's the thing: human ingenuity and our capacity to imagine and create is beyond the beyond the beyond. And we could have had so many things already if there wasn't that suppression. So we could have incredible technological advances like those healing from Star Trek, right? When they just scan the body and they repair the DNA and you're good to go. Like that stuff, I think that's totally possible real soon. But it's a matter of whether they'll let it out.
Yeah, right. I mean, it seems like they don't want to. It seems like whoever they is. I always ask who is these people like that. Well, I mean, we can track who they are, but I mean, it's like, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
We're gonna have to do another show. This was really good. I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much. Yeah, fun. There's endless amounts of topics.
Because I want to talk to you about energy healing, and I want to talk to you about like how to get energy off you once someone puts energy on you, because I had an energy attachment and I was trying to literally burn it out of my body. Like when I, because what that means was I was like, trying to raise my body temperature to like, get it off me. And I still have issues at night. Like I can feel this energy on me. It makes the bed move and stuff like that. Like, like bumps will come off the bed and like I can feel it on my back. It feels like it's on my back. You know what I mean? It's like an energy attachment. Like
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, so here's what I learned when I was doing the energy healing classes is that the energy attachments want you to be in fear first, and second, feel powerless. Okay, so when you are in fear, then you do lose some of your power. But the truth of the matter is that you are a sovereign being and you have the authority to command that energy to leave your being, to leave your body. And sometimes it takes enlisting some of the angels for help, right? So here's the interesting thing about people with that are under the spell of darker energies is they very much believe in the darker energy's power, but they don't necessarily believe that there's a flip side to that, that they don't necessarily believe that there's angels that are there that can help them. I find that interesting. They believe that the dark is there, but to call in the angels for help, that's woo-woo. That's silly. There's no angels. So, in the name of my beloved, I am presence from the very heart of God. I invoke an invisible shaft of God's first ray of protection to be placed over me. Let it surround every cell, atom, and electron of my being, encapsulating me in invincible force field of God's will. Let this shaft of sapphire blue light expand into my various bodies and all my chakras. Cut me free from anything that is less than the highest light within me. Let the blue flame of the divine love guard my force field of protection daily and hourly. I know that I am absolutely protected at all times, in all places. I express my deep gratitude for all assistance given to me always. The 7 sacred flames. So, my suggestion for anybody that has entity attachments is to start with some prayers of protection and invoke your teams of light, because you're not meant to suffer and you don't have to suffer, and you have allies on the other side as well.
Can you send me that? Can you send me what you just did there? Like I'd like to say that for myself at night, like when I, like, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe I could ask you to remind you. You remember, you know what I mean? If you have it like written down somewhere.
I'll take a picture of it and drop it in your email. But yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that was amazing. There
was another, I think you can just simply do it too. Just call in like Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, surround me in a force field of protection while I sleep.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody else told me that it's another one which is really interesting. Is someone told me to call in the black dragons? Like the dragons are coming into our consciousness too. Like, and it's weird. Like if anybody's out there and anybody's like wondering about, like, I don't know who these black dragons are. I have no clue who they are, right? But like if you just sit there and if you're like in like if you're like you're getting attacked energetically and you just say, I call on the black dragons, like you'll feel a relief come over you. It's strange. I couldn't believe it. I was like, where did that come from? I was like, who are these black dragons? Like, you know what I mean?
So
I was
bizarre,
like, it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. I don't pretend to know anything. I really don't. It's just fascinating. All I know is, just like you said, you call in the black dragons and there's relief. So is there black dragons? Or is it, I don't know, right? Or
is it like a metaphor for something else, or is it the word play or something, or you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is it like it's so strange, but like, it's amazing though. Like, I see we have some new people in the chat. So hi Tumba and hi Utopians watching on Rumble. Yeah, I like to stream to like different platforms. I stream to Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. Try to get more people watching. I saw you were streaming to your YouTube too. That's awesome.
I grabbed it. Yeah.
So yeah, we should definitely do another show.
Sounds awesome. I'd love to. It was a great conversation.
Yeah. Well, how can people book a session with you or get any of the services you provide? And if you want to tell people what you provide real quick and that'd be great. And thank you so much for doing this.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, so you can go to zarastarchild.com and you'll find my website. We're in the process of giving it a new look, which will be there by the end of the week. And on the website, you'll find the Transmissions of Grace World Service Program for light workers. It's a light worker training and World Service program. And then I do Violet Alchemy Healing with the Pendulum, which is really interesting. And we uncover, I don't know, would you be interested in doing like a Violet Alchemy Healing session online?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that. Yeah,
that'd be fun, right? So this clears, we clear karmic wounds, past life fragments, external energy attachments, vows, contracts, agreements. And in the Pendulum sort of is like this psychic forensics. It finds all of the stuff that's all the stuff that's blocking your joy, your well-being, your manifestation, whatever it is that you're wanting. It also does releasing trauma, releasing past trauma. So the Violet Alchemy Healing is amazing. And then Akashic Record reading is another personal service. And we just created this beautiful membership package, which is called the True Light Membership, which offers a group healing of Violet Alchemy and a group Akashic Record, and then all of the archives of my workshops for $47 a month. So you can get regular energy healing, and in the Akashic Record readings that we're doing now, we're actually training you guys to attune to the Akashic Records yourself and pull the data in the group. So that's part of the membership. So that's all.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
When did you want to? You want to do that the beginning of July? I can do it. I mean, I have a pretty busy. That's what I was gonna say. I do too many shows. I did 3 shows today, and then I have 3 tomorrow.
I can't believe you're doing them all live. This is the first live I've ever done.
Oh yeah, I do almost every one live.
That's amazing.
Because I can stream it to multiple platforms, and I don't know, but yeah, it's but I don't know, I would be definitely up for doing that Violet Flame, but
yeah,
at the beginning of July if you want to.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do a little sample of Violet Alchemy Healing for you, and everybody can watch.
That would be cool. That'd be real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
We'll arrange that on email.
Okay. Well, and is there anything else you want to promote? And thank you so much.
That's it. Just go to the website, see all the stuff, and if you like my vibe, we'll connect.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and I'll be back tomorrow. I have a couple more shows tomorrow, and I don't have anything to promote tonight, but just support the podcast, and thank you, everybody, and have a good night, everyone. Until next time.